Joining us now from Washington is House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairwoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, Republican from Florida. And Chairwoman, thank you so much for being here.
It's a joy to be on Newsmax. Thanks for the invitation.
Well, you're moving forward with a plan to strip $6.5 billion in State Department funding to the UN and aid to Pakistan, Egypt, Lebanon, and the Palestinian Authority, unless these nations can prove no members of terror groups or their sympathizers are serving in their governments. What kind of message are you trying to send these countries?
Well, I certainly hope that the American people are in agreement with this basic fundamental principle that U.S. taxpayer dollars should not be going to terrorist organizations or to governments who have in them members of terrorist organizations and who are not advancing the causes of freedom and liberty and American interest throughout the world. Remember that this is not a welfare program that some of these countries have now come to rely upon the United States as the sugar daddy. And it doesn't matter how corrupt these governments may be. It doesn't matter how anti-American these governments might have been. It doesn't matter how much infiltrated they are with terrorist elements. For a long, long time, successive administrations, Republicans and Democratic administrations, the feeling was, let's keep the person in power now, even though that leader is not the best leader, is not a Democratic leader, is not a clean leader, does not advance U.S. interests, but at least he is better than what could be behind him. He's better than an abyss. He's better than a question mark. Well, he may or may not be better than an abyss, but that doesn't mean that we, the taxpayers, should be funding him. Let's fund governments that are clean, and we have in our bill certain requirements that people bristled at, saying, well, what do you mean? You want them to be not corrupt? Yeah, we do. Not corrupt, that they don't have terrorist ties, that they're advancing U.S. interests. I don't think that that's imposing our values on other countries. It is U.S. taxpayer dollars. They have the right, these foreign leaders and foreign governments, to not accept U.S. dollars. But if they choose, and it is their choice to accept U.S. security assistance, for example, that's so vital, well, then they've got to meet certain thresholds. In the case of Pakistan, I don't agree with some of my colleagues who say that Pakistan has not been an ally. They have been an ally in a troubled sense. They have not cooperated as they should, but they've been as imperfect as an ally as they have been. I prefer to put strict conditions on U.S. aid. Some of my colleagues say no aid whatsoever. I think it behooves us to have sharing of intelligence with Pakistan because we can know at least a little bit better where the bad guys are. We've been able to operate in Pakistan, sometimes with the government of Pakistan, sometimes without their assistance. For example, the operation against bin Laden. Was Pakistan helpful? Certainly not. And that's what brought this whole U.S. relationship to the outside world to the forefront of our agenda.
There was this tremendous outrage when it was learned that we've been giving Pakistan aid, yet Osama bin Laden was found in a compound right near a Pakistani military complex. Is Pakistan deserving of that money? And what kind of proof would you need that that country is working to root out terrorists before you feel it's okay to turn on the spigot?
Well, that's the key question. What kind of proof do we need to make sure that Pakistan is now going to do the right thing, cooperate with U.S. intelligence, cooperate with our State Department, cooperate with our military to make sure that they are going to give us information on the bin Laden raid, to make sure that they give us cooperation about insurgents and arms and money of folks going into Afghanistan. That's right where their border is, and hurting our armed forces guys and gals over there. How good are they in making sure that they can root out all of the terrorists that are busy at work in Pakistan, because that is a hotbed of terrorist activities? Are they cooperating or not? The proof has to be shown to us. And if we are not satisfied with the proof, they will not get the security assistance that they need. Now, it's been brought way down already. It's been brought way, way, way down from what it was, and it has a lot of strict conditions. So the check is not in the mail. It is not business as usual. It is a whole new world, and they have shown what they are up to with this bin Laden raid, and we're just flat out not going to put up with it. I've been working in our Foreign Affairs Committee with the Intelligence Committee folks and with the Foreign Ops subcommittee that has the funds, controls the funds to these governments. And they're going to get a rude awakening because they're going to see that we mean it. The American people are fed up. And when you spoke to me about what's going on in the Palestinian territory, that if people would know more about it, and I'm so glad that you're covering this, they would be aghast that our American taxpayer dollars is going to a Palestinian Authority that will soon be wedded to Hamas, an official terrorist organization, and they could very well still get U.S. taxpayer dollars. Well, if our bills become law, they will not be able to do it because it's very clear that they should not join forces, because even if they get UN recognition, that's their goal, we will consider them to be a terrorist organization, and they will not get U.S. taxpayer dollars. We've got to be very careful with our judicious use of taxpayer dollars. People are broke, and you've got to ask yourself, are we willing to go into further debt in order to finance these regimes? Are we willing to borrow money from the communist Chinese? Is it worth it for your children and for your grandchildren and for our own generation to go into debt and keep borrowing from the Chi-Coms in order to help the Palestinian Authority that's corrupt and that's aligned with Hamas, the Lebanese government that's a puppet of Hezbollah and ruled by Syria, Iran that's trying to control all of the strings, Pakistan that's in bed with some of these fringe elements. We've got to be careful stewards of the taxpayer dollars, and it's no longer business as usual. We're going to be careful and judicious in the way that we use our residents' tax dollars.
Okay. Secretary of State Clinton says that she will push for a veto of your bill, claiming that it hurts her foreign policy efforts, though the $6.5 billion is only a fraction of President Obama's $52 billion request for the State Department and foreign operations. What's your response to that?
I am glad that the Obama administration has really shown its hands in such a clear way. There's no doubt to these foreign governments that were it up to the Obama administration, the check would be in the mail. It would be business as usual. There would be no strict conditions. There would not be any conditions whatsoever. The president believes that we can buy foreign love, and we can't. We have to be careful stewards of the taxpayer dollars, and the buck stops here. And the residents that I represent, and I represent a very international city, so it's probably more international than many others. And they say, enough already. We don't have the money. We are broke. Why are we going to give it to these corrupt regimes when they are going to be so anti-American? And we have another part in our bill that says if these countries are not voting with us in the way that they should and to advance U.S. interests in the United Nations, then they would not receive the funds. And people are aghast. They think that we're Neanderthals. But this is not a welfare program. If you want the money, you ask for it, and you should deserve it. Have you earned it? Are you an American ally, or are you not? And this concept that you're sophisticated if you give away money, and that you're a knave and just a not sophisticated player if you ask for conditions and you ask for them to vote in favor of American interests abroad. Oh, that's just not sophisticated. That's not what a think tank would do. That's what our constituents would do. They are demanding more for their money, and they're saying, look at what happened with bin Laden. These guys aren't cooperating, then they shouldn't get our money. Plain and simple. I think folks understand the situation. They get it, and they're telling us to vote our way. So, I'm glad that the Obama administration has put out a veto threat. I really am, because it shows the difference between the American people and the Obama administration.
House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairwoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, thanks so much for being here.